Hi, and welcome to another episode of Hot Takes with me, the Silver Fox. And this is a very unusual episode, not one that I would normally follow or do, but I think that the case in itself is very, very tragic, and it goes to show what stupidity, ineptitude, and lack of control can do. I've always maintained that the police are not your friends. They have connived in the R of 15,000 children, covered it up for the sake of not causing ruckus in terms of various race relations. So actually connived and handed children back to the very people who were being terrible to them. And nowadays there's several police forces that have admitted that they haven't solved a single burglary in months and things like that. The police are beyond useless. They were sent to do a job to, take a man into custody. But members of the public said no. And rather than actually do their job and arrest the man and take him into custody, they backed down. We have a snivelling weasel police force that refuses to do the difficult jobs asked of it because they're too hard. Sure, they'll do you for driving slightly too quickly or for parking badly, or if you have wrong think or say the wrong thing. Oh, they'll be banging on your door quick enough then. But if you're actually a criminal, they don't want to know. Unless you are a criminal, and then they make things far, far worse with their ineptitude and stupidity and lack of control. And I suspect that nobody is going to lose their job over this incident. It's a terrible incident, and it cost a man everything. Let's look at this. This headline, when I read it, I sat agog. The man in question is a Mr. Brian Temple. He stole a sausage roll from Greggs. This is £1. A £1 sausage roll. He's got all right. He was stupid. He's done something a bit stupid. He stole a sausage roll. What do you get for that? Even if the police are called, it's a slap on the wrist. Don't be an arse. On your way. Or pay for it. Just make him pay for it. At the very least, even if it goes to court, okay, it's a £30 fine. Off you go. It's a nothing crime. Man, 34, who was arrested for stealing a Greggs sausage roll, ended himself after he was abused in the street and beaten up because the police wrongly named him as a P on custody release papers, the inquest hears. Brian Temple, 34, ended himself after he was falsely branded a P. Police said he was a child SO when in fact he was only a very petty thief. The inquest heard Mr. Temple had only been arrested for thieving some sausage rolls. These are £1 a piece, I love a good old Greggs sausage roll. I mean, I wouldn't steal one, but hey, they're nothing. A bakery thief ended himself after human error from police wrongly named him as a P. An inquest has been told. Brian Temple died on the 31st of December 2017, 6 months after being arrested on June the 8th for allegedly stealing a pack of sausage rolls from Greggs. Well, of course, only allegedly, because it hasn't gone to court. So technically, he's not even a thief. He's not been prosecuted for it. He's not been found guilty. After he was released from custody, he was handed his release papers and made his way back home in Redcar. And without properly reading the documents, he handed them to his then girlfriend when he got back. But police had made a serious error with the papers, Teesside Coroner's Court heard. Serious error. Find out who made this serious error, because that serious error led to a tragic consequence, and the person who made that serious error needs to pay a price. Instead of listing his theft from Greggs, the documents wrongly stated he was in custody for inciting relations with a 13-year-old girl. His disgusted girlfriend began telling people of the incorrect information. Members of the community turned on him, and he was reportedly verbally abused in the street, attacked in his own home, and hit on the head by a golf club. The court heard Mr. Temple began to drink heavily after a false accusation and take a mixture of both prescribed medication and recreational drugs. Coroner Claire Bailey explained that a toxicology report carried out by Dr. Cooper found Brian had 134 milligrams of alcohol in his system. That's quite a lot. As well as a mixture of diazepam, zopiclone and pregabalin, but these did not contribute to his final ending. Dr. Cooper concluded that Mr. Temple's death was as a result of dangling. His body was found by his brother Anthony after his mother's partner, Paul Daly, became concerned that they had not heard from him all day. This is a man driven to, hounded to his death because the police, who are not your friends, made a tragic, terrible error. Will we find out who made that error? What do you think? Coroner Nick Owen read statements from Mr. Temple's brother Paul, sister-in-law Crystal and mother Mrs. McLaughlin, who has since passed away. His mother described her son as happy-go-lucky, but that ordeal with incorrect release papers caused him to become closed off and depressed. Not bloody surprising. The court heard that after the news spread of the release papers, Mr. Temple reported threats and assaults to the police, and the force's welfare checks reportedly made this worse and fuelled the fire of incorrect rumours. His brother Paul, who was in attendance at the inquest at Teesside Magistrates Court, spoke of his closeness to his brother. The pair had grown up being anti-drug, explaining Mr. Temple only began taking them to cope with the constant attacks and assaults he was experiencing in the months leading to his passing. Although he had depression, Paul explained in his statement that his brother never indicated ending tendencies and said that the mistake on the release sheet would drive anyone mad. It certainly would. In her statement, Mr. Temple's sister-in-law, Crystal, explained how the mistaken charge sheet was found in his pocket at the time of his death, and she explained how she believed the police had a duty of care for vulnerable people, such as her brother-in-law, as he was suffering from mental health issues at the time of his arrest. And again, this is the sort of thing it should have been, look, slap on the wrist, don't do it, take him down to the station, give him a bow licking, give him a round enough, and send him on his way. Ask him to pay £1 or whatever, £2, whatever it will be, and go. Officer Owen read out numerous statements from police officers who had dealt with Mr. Temple in the run-up to the end and around the time of his arrest and the incorrect papers being issued. Detective Sergeant Agar of Cleveland Police said in his statement that he had dealt with Mr. Temple's complaint of the incorrect papers of November 28, 2017 and said his bail sheet was a genuine human error. Who's the human here? Which human? Which officer? We need to know. This officer should be named, shamed, fired and prosecuted. The Independent Office for Police Conduct began an investigation after Mr. Temple's passing, so an error like this would never happen again. It should never happen in the first place, and if you fire the person who did it, that would help it never happen again. The inquest continues. Nobody has been fired. The police look after their own. What's truly terrifying about this is it could happen to me, it could happen to you, it could happen to anyone. You could be pulled over some minor traffic notice, and an error in police reporting could label you the very worst of people. There's no comeback, nobody's getting blamed, they won't name the officer that did it, and I bet he's still working. There might have been a minor tap on the wrist for him, but I bet he's still working for the police, and it's wrong. Questions need to be asked and the answers need to be shouted loudly. However, I'll bring it to an end. If you like what you hear and see on the channel, please hit the subscribe button if you haven't already, ring the bell for notifications of future output, leave a like, leave a comment, and until next time, dear friends, stay safe, stay well, and goodbye.